So there are a few reasons why an agent might advertise a property with a price range opposed to having a set price. Now, while there are many trains of thoughts as to whether a price range or set price makes the most sense, I believe that typically a range is a good way to educate potential purchasers as to what a fair market value would be relative to the types of offers you could be expecting. Now, getting the best price for the homeowner and selling the property with the best conditions is always the main priority for good agents. But what the best price is can often be determined by the conditions that are accompanying that price. What I mean by this is if an offer that is subject to finance, is subject to building and pest inspections, is subject to potentially the purchasers having their own property sold, this type of offer is more likely to fall over from one of those conditions not being met than an offer that has no additional conditions, sometimes known as a cash unconditional offer. So, assuming that you have two identical offers, that an unconditional offer is going to always look more attractive. But sometimes you have an offer that, let's say for the purpose of this conversation, is a fair offer that is cash unconditional, and another offer that is a higher offer with subject to one or more conditions. In this situation, the owner who is selling the property has the option to decide which of the two options they decide that they wanted to take, if either of them. And this is normally going to be based on which offer helps them achieve their goals. If the final sales price is the main concern for the seller, and after reviewing all the risk of how likely the conditions will or will not likely be met, they may be inclined to take the higher offer. On the other hand, if the seller is motivated to sell the property and they have decided it's better for them to move on, say for example it's part of a divorce or an estate sale, they may prefer the cash unconditional offer so that they can close that particular chapter with less risk of needing to go back to market and starting again from scratch if one of the conditions isn't met. So, knowing that there's a range is a way to educate purchasers. It's easy to understand that agents are going to speak with those prospective purchasers and discuss that the price ranges are really just a guide for saying if you're looking at a fair cash unconditional offer, it's most likely going to be only at the lower end because it's a cash unconditional offer. However, if your offer has several conditions, then your price is going to need to be at the higher end of the range to be considered a fair offer. And also, let's also consider that the purchaser needs to know that if they have any conditions, these conditions are going to affect how your offer is viewed. So to extend on this, it's also going to be things like how much deposit you're going to be putting down on your purchase. What are the settlement terms, and a host of information which will be fed back to the seller by your agent. So, provided that your price range is where the market sees value, good agents like myself will educate your prospective purchasers to close the gap between where your potential purchasers think they should be buying the property, as all of the purchasers that come through and prospective purchasers are going to want to pay as little as possible, and help them understand where fair market value actually is. And by educating your purchasers and setting the expectations that the purchasers need to be in a certain price range, you will now be in the best position to achieve a premium price and satisfy everyone involved, including yourself selling the property. I'm Ricky from Real People Real Estate. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on our podcast and on iTunes as well.